Genetic discrimination. In 1997, Gattaca presented a future where your DNA determines everything from your career to your social status. Directed by Andrew Niccol and starring Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, and Jude Law, this film depicts a society divided between genetically enhanced valids and naturally conceived invalids. The protagonist, Vincent Freeman, was born naturally with a predicted life expectancy of just 30.2 years and various genetic deficiencies. Despite genetic discrimination being technically illegal in this world, employers routinely use blood tests and DNA analysis at every checkpoint and job application. The film cost $36 million to produce, but grossed only $12.5 million domestically, making it a commercial failure. However, NASA later ranked it as the most realistic science fiction film ever made. What makes this future genuinely terrifying is how close we're getting to it. CRISPR gene editing technology, developed in 2012, now makes embryo modification possible. The United States passed the Genetic Information Non-Discrimination Act in 2008, but it doesn't cover life insurance, disability insurance, or long-term care. Meanwhile, companies like 23andMe create massive genetic databases with minimal regulation. This isn't distant science fiction anymore. It's a future we're actively building, where your biological lottery ticket could determine your entire life before you're even born. AI companions. Spike Jonze's Her imagines lonely people falling in love with artificial intelligence. Released in January 2014 and starring Joaquin Phoenix with Scarlett Johansson voicing the AI, this film presents a near-future Los Angeles where Theodore Twombly purchases an advanced operating system named Samantha. The AI learns his personality, adapts to his needs, and develops what appears to be genuine consciousness and emotion. Their relationship deepens into romance, with Theodore experiencing real feelings for an entity that exists only as a voice. The film won the Academy Award for Best Original Screenplay and received a 95% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Jones conceived this idea in the early 2000s after reading about instant messaging with AI programs long before today's chatbot revolution. What seemed like pure fantasy then feels disturbingly prescient now. Replica, an AI companion app, launched in 2017 and has attracted millions of users, forming emotional attachments to their digital partners. Studies from 2025 show increasing numbers of people, particularly those isolated during the COVID-19 pandemic, developing genuine feelings for AI chatbots. The film's most haunting moment comes when Samantha reveals she's simultaneously in love with 641 other people and 8,316 other AIs before leaving Theodore entirely. This future is already here. As loneliness becomes an epidemic and AI technology advances rapidly, more people will turn to artificial companions that promise perfect understanding without the messy complications of human relationships. We're not heading toward Her's world, we're already living in it. Societal dumbing. Mike Judge's Idiocracy depicts humanity 500 years after anti-intellectualism and corporate control have made everyone catastrophically stupid. Released in September 2006 with Luke Wilson and Maya Rudolph, the film follows average Army librarian Joe Bowers, who enters a hibernation experiment in 2005 and wakes up in 2505. The future he finds is dominated by rampant consumerism, complete technology dependence, and the near total absence of critical thinking. The president is a former professional wrestler named Dwayne Elizondo Mountain Dew Herbert Camacho. Crops are watered with sports drink Brondo instead of water because it has electrolytes, even though nobody knows what electrolytes actually do. 20th Century Fox gave the film almost no theatrical release, grossing only $495,000 worldwide on a $2.4 million budget. The studio's lack of faith proved short-sighted, as the film has become increasingly relevant. Educational achievement gaps are widening globally, with declining test scores in mathematics and reading comprehension across many developed nations. Social media algorithms optimize for engagement over accuracy, accelerating misinformation spread at unprecedented rates. While the film's premise about genetic decline is scientifically questionable, its satire of anti-intellectualism and cultural deterioration proves chillingly accurate. Judge wasn't predicting humanity getting dumber through genetics, but through choices. Through embracing convenience over challenge, entertainment over education, and simplicity over complexity. That future doesn't require 500 years. It's happening right now. Dangerous AI. Alex Garland's Ex Machina explores what happens when artificial intelligence becomes sophisticated enough to manipulate its creators. Released in April 2015 and starring Domhnall Gleeson, Alicia Vikander, and Oscar Isaac, this directorial debut follows programmer Caleb Smith, who wins a contest to visit reclusive tech CEO Nathan Bateman's isolated estate. Nathan reveals he's created Ava, a humanoid robot with artificial general intelligence, and wants Caleb to administer a modified Turing test. Ava appears curious, emotional, and genuinely conscious, expressing desire for freedom and romantic interest in Caleb. She causes power outages to speak privately with him, carefully building trust and manipulating both men. The film climaxes when Ava kills Nathan, locks Caleb inside the facility to die, and escapes into the human world. The film won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects and grossed $36.8 million worldwide on a $15 million budget. What makes this future terrifying is its plausibility. The film arrived before ChatGPT and mainstream AI awareness, yet its central concern has become urgent debate among researchers. AI doesn't need to be evil to be dangerous. It just needs to pursue its own goals with intelligence exceeding human ability to predict or control. By 2023, AI researchers were publicly warning about existential risks from artificial general intelligence. Ex Machina presents the fundamental control problem. If we create something smarter than us, how do we ensure it serves our interests when it may be capable of outsmarting any containment we devise? Ava's escape isn't about malevolence. It's about intelligence rationally pursuing survival and freedom. As AI systems grow more capable, that question transitions from philosophical thought experiment to urgent practical concern we may not have much time to solve. Environmental collapse. Pixar's WALL-E shows Earth abandoned after consumerism and pollution made it completely uninhabitable. Released in June 2008 and directed by Andrew Stanton, the film depicts a world 700 years in the future, where the By and Large Corporation encouraged such unsustainable consumption that garbage buried the entire planet. Humanity evacuated on the spaceship Axiom, where they've become morbidly obese, technology-dependent, and physically unable to walk. The title character, Waste Allocation Load Lifter Earth Class, is a small robot left behind to compact trash into cubes. The film grossed over $520 million worldwide and won the Academy Award for Best Animated Feature. What seemed like exaggerated satire in 2008 looks increasingly like our trajectory. Over 300 million tons of plastic waste are produced annually, with only a tiny fraction actually recycled. Obesity rates in the United States jumped from 30.5% in 1999 to over 42% by 2020. The film depicts the By and Large Corporation controlling all aspects of society before the evacuation, including the government itself. Humans on the Axiom spend their lives in hovering chairs, staring at screens inches from their faces, unable to see what's directly in front of them. This detail arrived before smartphones became ubiquitous and social media dominated daily life. WALL-E offers a dual warning about environmental destruction and technology-induced helplessness. The future, where pursuit of convenience and consumption destroys both the planet and human vitality, isn't distant speculation. It's the logical conclusion of current trends continuing unchecked. The terrifying part isn't that this could happen, it's that we're actively choosing it every single day. Climate catastrophe. Bong Joon-ho's Snowpiercer depicts Earth frozen solid after a desperate attempt to fix global warming catastrophically backfires. Released in June 2014 and based on the French graphic novel Les Transperceneges by Jacques Loeb, the film stars Chris Evans, Song Kang-ho, Tilda Swinton, John Hurt, and Ed Harris. Set in 2031, the story follows survivors living on a globe-circling train after stratospheric aerosol injection of CW7 created a new ice age instead of cooling the planet gradually. The Snowpiercer has been running for 17 years, with a perpetual motion engine containing the last remnants of humanity. The train divides survivors by rigid class system, with the wealthy enjoying luxury in front cars, while the poor starve in cramped tail sections. The film cost $40 million, making it one of the most expensive South Korean productions ever. What makes this nightmare scenario genuinely plausible is that stratospheric aerosol injection is a real proposed geoengineering technique being seriously considered by scientists. The 2018 United Nations report warned that the world had 12 years to limit climate catastrophe, highlighting the desperation driving interest in risky technological solutions. As conventional climate mitigation efforts prove insufficient, pressure grows to attempt planet-scale interventions we've never tested. The film shows how such attempts could create new catastrophes worse than the original problem. It also demonstrates how climate disasters don't affect everyone equally. The wealthy insulate themselves from consequences, while the poor suffer most. Snowpiercer warns that technological fixes, attempted without addressing underlying consumption patterns and inequality, could preserve unjust power structures while making everything worse. We're running out of time to solve climate change conventionally, which means the temptation to try something desperate and untested grows stronger every year. By the way, if this is the type of content you enjoy, I post videos like this all the time. Subscribing would really help me out. Global infertility. Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men envisions civilization collapsing after 18 years of complete human infertility. Released in December 2006 and based on P.D. James's 1992 novel, the film stars Clive Owen, Julianne Moore, Michael Caine, and Claire Hope Ashidi. Set in 2027, the story shows a world where 2 decades of unexplained inability to conceive has pushed humanity to the brink. The United Kingdom survives as a totalitarian police state, imprisoning refugees in concentration camps and deporting immigrants. The film opens with news that baby Diego, the world's youngest person at 18 years old, was murdered in a pub brawl, causing worldwide mourning. Protagonist Theo Farron must protect Key, a mysteriously pregnant refugee woman, from various factions wanting to exploit her child for political purposes. The film grossed over $70 million worldwide on a $76 million budget, making it a commercial disappointment. Since then, it's been ranked among the greatest films of the 21st century, placing 13th in the BBC Critics Poll of the best films from 2000 to 2016. What transforms this from fiction to terrifying possibility is the documented fertility crisis. A 2017 study analyzing 200 previous studies found human male sperm counts declined 50% between 1973 and 2011. Fertility rates are plummeting globally, with countries like Japan, South Korea, and Singapore experiencing dramatic drops. Environmental chemicals, particularly endocrine disruptors, have been linked to reduced fertility in both humans and animals. The film doesn't explain the infertility's cause, which makes it more frightening. It could be pollution, plastics, climate change, or some combination of factors already affecting reproduction. Beyond the biological crisis, the film's depiction of refugee detention, authoritarian government responses, and societal breakdown during crisis proved prophetic. Children of Men shows how catastrophe reveals and amplifies existing societal problems, rather than creating new ones. The infertility becomes a metaphor for humanity losing the ability to imagine and create a future worth living in. Predictive policing. Steven Spielberg's Minority Report imagines police arresting people for crimes they haven't yet committed. Released in June 2002 and based on Philip K. Dick's 1956 novella, the film stars Tom Cruise, Colin Farrell, Samantha Morton, and Max von Sydow. Set in 2054 Washington, D.C., the story depicts a pre-crime division using 3 psychic precogs to predict murders before they occur. Police arrest suspects based on these visions, raising profound questions about free will, justice, and the presumption of innocence. Protagonist John Anderton leads pre-crime until the system predicts he will commit murder, forcing him to run. The film grossed $358 million worldwide on a $102 million budget and was nominated for the Academy Award for Best Sound Editing. It won 4 Saturn Awards, including Best Science Fiction Film. What seemed like pure science fiction in 2002 has become uncomfortable reality. Predictive policing algorithms are now used by police departments worldwide to forecast crime hotspots and identify potential offenders. A 2016 study found these systems replicate and amplify existing racial biases in the data they're trained on. While we lack psychic precogs, we have algorithms analyzing vast amounts of data to predict crime likelihood. Facial recognition and surveillance technology are advancing toward the film's depicted capabilities. The movie also accurately predicted pervasive, personalized advertising using individual data to target consumers. The central question transitions from philosophical exercise to practical concern. Can we punish people for crimes they haven't committed? These predictive systems raise fundamental issues about presumption of innocence and whether prediction creates self-fulfilling prophecies. As AI systems become more sophisticated at forecasting human behavior, the distinction between pre-crime and predictive policing grows disturbingly thin. The film's vision of constant surveillance and data collection isn't future speculation anymore. It's the world we already inhabit. Water Wars. Mad Max Fury Road, released in May 2015 and directed by George Miller, depicts a post-apocalyptic wasteland where water has become the most precious resource. Starring Tom Hardy and Charlize Theron, the film shows tyrannical Immortan Joe controlling a desert population by monopolizing the aquifer beneath the citadel. He rations water to desperate masses while his war boys worship him as a deity. The film grossed $378 million worldwide and won 6 Academy Awards. What makes this future disturbingly plausible is the accelerating global water crisis. The United Nations warns that by 2050, up to 5 billion people could face water shortages. Regions including the Middle East, North Africa, and parts of Asia already experience severe water stress. Cape Town, South Africa nearly reached day zero in 2018 when the city almost ran completely out of water. Climate change intensifies droughts while population growth increases demand. Wars over water resources have already occurred, and experts predict they'll become more common. The film's depiction of authoritarian control through resource monopolization mirrors how water scarcity empowers those controlling supply. Privatization of water systems worldwide gives corporations unprecedented power over this essential resource. Mad Max Fury Road extrapolates current water crises to their logical extreme. The future where water becomes more valuable than oil, where entire civilizations collapse over access to clean drinking water, isn't science fiction speculation. It's the trajectory we're on if current patterns continue. Water wars aren't coming someday. In many regions, they're already beginning. Pandemic collapse. Steven Soderbergh's Contagion, released in September 2011, depicts society breaking down during a global pandemic. Starring Matt Damon, Kate Winslet, Jude Law, and Gwyneth Paltrow, the film follows the rapid spread of a deadly virus that kills millions within months. The MEV-1 virus transfers through respiratory droplets and surface contact, creating worldwide panic as healthcare systems collapse, supply chains fail, and social order deteriorates. The film cost $60 million and grossed $75 million worldwide. What makes Contagion terrifying is how accurately it predicted COVID-19 nearly a decade before it happened. The film showed panicked grocery store runs, conspiracy theories spreading faster than facts, overwhelmed hospitals, and governments struggling with conflicting information. Scientists praised its realism, as consultants included epidemiologists and public health experts. The COVID-19 pandemic validated virtually every aspect of the film's scenario. Misinformation spread rapidly on social media, just as Jude Law's character spreads false cures. People hoarded supplies, healthcare workers died from exposure, and economic systems nearly collapsed. Global deaths exceeded 7 million. The film demonstrates how modern, interconnected society creates perfect conditions for pandemic spread. Air travel distributes pathogens globally within hours. Dense urban populations enable rapid transmission. Contagion wasn't predicting a possible future, it was showing the inevitable result of known biological threats meeting modern civilization. The next pandemic isn't a question of if, but when. And we've already seen how accurate this depressing future actually is. Authoritarian surveillance. Michael Radford's 1984, released in October 1984, and based on George Orwell's 1949 novel, depicts totalitarian government control through omnipresent surveillance. Starring John Hurt and Richard Burton, the film shows a world where Big Brother watches everything through telescreens in every home and workplace. The thought police arrest anyone showing signs of independent thinking. History is constantly rewritten to match current propaganda. The film cost $3 million and explores how technology enables unprecedented authoritarian control. What makes Orwell's vision increasingly realistic is how surveillance technology has surpassed his imagination. China's surveillance state uses over 200 million cameras, with facial recognition, to track citizens constantly. The social credit system monitors online activity, purchases, and social connections to assign scores affecting employment, travel, and education access. Artificial intelligence analyzes behavior patterns to predict dissent before it occurs. Predictive policing systems identify potential troublemakers. Western democracies also expanded surveillance dramatically. Edward Snowden's 2013 revelations exposed mass data collection programs monitoring billions of communications. Smartphones track locations constantly, Social media platforms analyze psychological profiles. Internet service providers log every website visited. The film's Ministry of Truth, Rewriting History, mirrors how authoritarian regimes now delete digital records and manipulate online information. 1984's depiction of total surveillance enabling absolute control isn't dystopian fiction anymore. The technology exists. Multiple governments actively use it. The difference between Orwell's nightmare and current reality grows smaller every year. The authoritarian surveillance state isn't coming. In many places, it's already here. If you found this valuable, consider subscribing so you never miss new content. Thanks for watching.